Hello and welcome to the Home Business Podcast. My name's Phil. Joining me as usual, I've got Rohan. How you doing, mate?
Hey, good. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Today's guest has built a YouTube channel with over 55,000 subscribers and nearly 6 million views across more than 200 videos. If you've ever watched a Home Business Update video, there's a good chance you've seen his signature high five and a top 5 features rundown. He's rescued more Tuya devices from the cloud than Liam Neeson has rescued family members. Please welcome the man, the myth, the legend behind Mark Watt Tech, Mark Watt. Mark, thanks so much for joining us today, mate.
Hey, thanks, Phil.
Hey, man.
So good. I think feels like we always catch each other on the creators calls. So it's been a long time coming, like getting you on the podcast. So no, really appreciate you taking the
I think
time.
we've literally been talking about this for like 2 years now getting you on the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. Speaking of which, this podcast is sponsored by Home Business Cloud by Nabucasa. For a small monthly fee, you'll unlock powerful features like secure, effortless access to your system from anywhere, your choice of voice assistants, offsite backups, and more, all configurable from the UI with no YAML needed. It also supports the development of Home Assistant, ESPHome, and other OpenHome Foundation projects. Click the link in the description to learn more. We'd also like to give a shout out to our Patreon members, including our executive producers, Benny and Rob. You can help support the show and get early access to episodes like this, all in an ad-free feed. To support the show, check out homeassistant.fm and click Patreon in the menu.
Awesome. Well, Mark, again, thank you and welcome to the show. I know the three of us have known each other for, I think, a decent amount of time now. It's for those of us joining us on the podcast, it's typically the way Home Assistant runs the creators calls is there's I guess my time, there's like a morning one or like a during the day, it's usually like around noon, and there's a evening one around like 6 p.m. my time, and the evening ones are usually us and Mark. Sometimes I hop around, I guess, because depending on how work is looking and whatever. But Phil, again, because with Phil's time and Mark's time and all that stuff, it works out so that way. So again, huge welcome, Mark. Again, it's great to have you on. So
Yeah, thank you. It feels a bit like do you know, like when your friends haven't been in school for a while?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so. I mean, tell us about yourself. You've got as Phil's pretty awesome introduction stated. You've got a quite successful YouTube channel. What do you talk about? How did you get started? Why are you doing it?
Yeah, so yeah, the main reason is just like it's just a hobby. Like, everyone's hobby, home automation. Um, the way that I got started was it was kind of COVID time. Basically, yeah, I was just on some smart home forums and somebody was asking for help with something. And I was like, oh, like do this, do that. And the person was like, oh, could you just send like a little quick video on how to do it? And I was like, yeah, sure. So, and it was just literally just a screen recording, like, so click this and then you go here. And then if you press this. And then, yeah, like sent that and they were like, oh my God, that was so helpful. Like, and then loads of people were like, oh, that was really good. Could you make a little clip showing how to do this other thing? And I was like, oh, but like
There's a
just
market
having
there
that,
for it.
well,
Wow.
yeah, just that feedback and interaction and just being able to help people was really
Yeah.
nice. And then obviously because we were in COVID, it was, just something to kind of do.
Now's the
And
time.
yeah, and I've always like loved like video editing and things like that. So yeah.
I was gonna ask, did you have like editing experience and stuff like that before this, or is this something
Yeah, so
that you learned as part of like COVID?
yeah, so everything is just kind of self-taught, but the video and creative side is just something that I've always done, like just making like
Yeah.
little like home videos and just that kind of stuff.
I guess you do that at home and professionally, I'm guessing IT, something or other. We just all seem to be IT.
Yeah, yeah. So software developer as the day job, and then yeah, YouTube content creator person
Yeah.
on the
Nice.
evenings. So yeah, I definitely dialed it back a bit though. Like the time that we're on now, this would be like a normal time for recording and doing anything. My kids are
Yeah.
all a bit like older than a few years ago now as well, obviously.
Mhm.
So yeah, I I would say I get more sleep maybe.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, but again, so you're saying like, I guess it's what, 2:30 your time right now in the morning, 2:30 a.m. So it's
Yeah.
like this is your prime, hey, let's get content done.
It used to be that, yeah, like, it's quiet in the house, not gonna get disturbed.
Hmm.
But yeah, with, like, trying to be more flexible with work and changing stuff up, I kind of have, like, a day now, which is actually quite like, a fairly new thing. So Thursday's kind of my day where I have, like, a bit of time to do stuff, whether that be recording or editing,
Yeah, that's cool.
That's nice, yeah, because then it's like every week it's, hey, I've got Thursday, it's this thing, let's go get it done.
basically, yeah.
That's cool.
So I guess that's how you started out, in YouTube, just finding someone on the forums and then having a conversation with someone on the forums and helping them out. How did you get started with home automation?
Yeah, it basically started off with, an Amazon Echo. Um
Oh, yep,
Like,
the
I used
gateway
to always
drug.
think it was yeah, used to think it was always, like, really gimmicky and, like, yeah, turn your lights
Yeah.
on, and my wife bought me one for I think it was Christmas, like the really old Amazon Echoes, like the first ones were,
Yep.
Yeah.
um so one of those, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool, like, you can ask this thing speakers and play music, that was wicked." And then I was like, "Oh, maybe it actually would be quite cool if you could turn a light on." And I was in a rented house, like, back then too, so it was, just the smart light bulbs and the thing that I've heard you guys talk about, like, so many times, like, what do you do with light switches? So in the old, like, rented places. I had the Amazon Echo, then started getting a few smart bulbs, and when I bought them, they were just kind of, like, cheap, like, Wi-Fi bulbs that
Yeah.
are, like, Tuya based,
Mm.
um, and I'd used I don't even remember what Amazon call it, like, the automations, just, like, yeah, like,
Oh,
Echo automations,
the
whatever.
hunches. Yeah, actually, it is. Yeah,
Yeah, just
routines. Yeah.
yeah, routines, that's
Yeah.
it, yeah, so, yeah, just using routines, and then I just had some, like, limitations, and I was like, "Surely there's, like, a better way that you can control stuff." And I was like, I could just write something myself. So I started writing my own like platform, and I was like, oh, like, can I like hook into Tuya? And I was like, oh yeah, I can. There's like a little API there. And I was like, oh, this is taking me a long time. I wonder if somebody's done all the legwork. And then I found Home Assistant, and I was like, wicked. Like, so yeah, like like really old, like back in the day Home Assistant. So yeah, like you open it and it just opens, and then you're doing everything in YAML.
I'm guessing that this was before dashboard slash Lovelace. So in the States UI groups, everything in groups to
Yeah,
get
Yeah.
yeah,
what you
all
wanted.
yeah. So and I remember setting up Tuya in that, and like pressing a switch, and sometimes the light might come on, sometimes it might not. Sometimes it would do that thing where it like turns on and then goes back off and then goes on, and then yeah. So I remember doing that, and I was like, man, this Home Assistant sucks. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but it actually yeah, it actually wasn't Home Assistant. It was like the whole like integration and whatever.
Mm.
So yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, this sucks. I'm gonna do my own thing. Um, and then yeah, I came back to it again. Then actually, not that long after that, like after I was like, the problem isn't this thing. It's these cloud services and using
Yeah.
Wi-Fi. And then that's where I discovered Zigbee.
Yeah.
And Mark's entire world changed after that. It's
Yeah.
I mean, kind of along that vein, what sort of technologies do you use? Obviously, you talked about Zigbee. What other do you have any Z-Wave in there? Do you have BLE? Obviously, Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so a bit of everything actually. Like
Yeah,
my kind of Z-Wave, Z-Wave, like
Z-Wave.
yeah,
Yeah,
like that's like I've had that stuff, but again, like here in the UK, like it's definitely not as big as other places. Like I've tried a few like Z-Wave things out, and on my kind of test instance that's in the cupboard, I've got like the little dongle that I'm using. Like I've tried some Zeus stuff. It might be like the AOTech one. Uh,
okay.
but yeah, like I mean, I'm not even using any of that stuff. So,
Yeah,
but with the newer Home Assistant stuff that's coming, especially around Z-Wave, like yeah, I'll be testing it out and trying out some more stuff.
How do you find devices in the UK? I know, like in Australia, because their way of having its different frequencies, right? So, North America's got its frequency. Australia has its own frequency shared with New Zealand. I think Europe, maybe the UK and Europe have a different frequency. I don't know if it's a shared frequency between the UK and Europe, but it's certainly a different frequency. That means that devices that are in North America may not necessarily be available in other regions. Have you found like device availability being a bit different where you are?
Yeah, so there's definitely some like device like availability issues. Either just that particular product just isn't sold here. But yeah, it's definitely not like, or at least it doesn't seem like it's heavily pushed here. But like your Wi-Fi, Zigbee, that's you can go to like the supermarket and then you've got all of your white labeled Wi-Fi and Zigbee stuff. Yeah, then I've got some like Matter stuff, some Bluetooth stuff, some Wi-Fi stuff. So yeah, all of the things.
All of the things.
That's
You just
wicked.
mentioned the dirty word Matter there. What's your opinions on Matter so far, being middle of 2025?
It's better than it was. Like yeah, like especially if you like look at it compared to when we had the first version and there's basically like absolutely no devices. So yeah, it's better than it was. We've got like a lot more devices and there is a bit more functionality to it. So yeah, especially the way that Home Assistant are like driving and just being like the first people to get stuff out. Yeah, it's good, and I do have hopes that it will just keep improving and we'll get more devices and functionality. I think one of the main ones at the minute is, especially in terms of what some of like the manufacturers and stuff are doing with your everything is a bridge, because then you'll get things that are like, it's just to get that whole Matter label slapped onto things and have the keywords and everything. But like often you'll get like a Matter bridge or something that's Matter supported, and even though it's exposed, it has like no controls or anything. It'll just have on off.
Right.
But
Yeah, and then you have to download the third-party app and just
yeah, just to get the full functionality or whatever. But
Yeah, like I know Aquara is kind of again, Phil and I saw this at CES where pretty much every one of their devices is a Matter bridge as well, right? And it's or technically a Matter hub, right? And based on that, you can do whatever. You can control it, add it to their ecosystem, do that kind of thing, which is not a bad thing. I don't think it's the worst idea, right? But depending on how many of those you have, it could kind of get ridiculous, right? Trying to deal with that.
yeah, so I think Akara do it quite well. Like
Yeah, they do.
yeah, I love like the Akara devices. I've got some of the newer stuff. I actually can't think what it is, but they're like the first product that I had where it comes and it's got like the Home Assistant label on it.
Because they're now works
works
That's it.
with.
with, right?
Yeah. So yeah, like you got your little Amazon and Google labels and then Home Assistant right
Yeah,
next to it. So that was quite cool to see.
Quite nice seeing that logo like next to the big players, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
and this is just like an open source project. Like, yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
yeah. No, totally right. And I think it's also one of those things where it's like you feel like, oh, like again, I've been using Home Assistant for what feels like forever, right? And it's like, oh, cool, you were part of this like little niche group, right? And now it's like it's blown up so big, which is I always have said it's a good thing, right? And to your point, Mark, you're seeing it on boxes and that kind of stuff, which is really nice. Okay, so I complete random change of topic. The cubes behind you. So for those of you that are watching on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you listening on audio, Mark's got these diagonal cubes that are LED lit. They look really cool, and I definitely want one. What is it?
Yeah, so they're hyperspace lighting. They're running like a variant of WLED, but basically they're just like mirrors with LEDs in a cube. So when you like, if you're closer, it like, like when you look into it and it's like an infinity type thing.
You can see
Mm.
yourself 100
Yeah,
times.
and
Yeah,
then because it's like a variant of WLED, you can do all the crazy effects and sync them and
And then, of course,
stuff
that would
like.
integrate with Home Assistant, so you can do some
Yeah, I
crazy stuff.
mean, yeah, so that because they're on like a fork of WLED and I don't think they're supported anymore. And the way that the boards are, I've not actually took them apart to see if you can flash over the top
or
of them.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just on the back burner. But yeah, so they actually don't. They used to appear in Home Assistant like auto discovery, and you could add them to the WLED integration,
Yeah.
but they don't anymore. But somebody has like a couple of weeks ago just created a Hacks integration,
Oh,
so
nice.
you can add them through that. Or was it an add-on? I can't remember. But somebody's just created something in the community, and
That's
you can
cool.
use them again. So yeah, one day I'll look.
And are they just on Bluetooth, or are they Wi-Fi, or
Wi-Fi, yeah.
That's neat.
So you've just mentioned hacks there, and you're a pretty hacky guy, comfortable, flashing things with Tuya and getting those keys out. What's your favorite go-to hacks custom integrations, would you say, off the top of your head?
I mean, I really like the Dreo integration, just because
Okay.
I can get like that literally like came straight into my head because I have like Dreo fans everywhere, so that's one that just works.
It's like a rabbit hole for me. Like I know, like I would need a good afternoon just to go through the list and then write down. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I need to look at that one. Maybe I'll look at that one because there's things you don't even think of that are on there.
I think when you first get it as well, if you're just browsing that page, especially like with the newer UI, like the old one was like pretty horrible, but like you could
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can just spend ages just being like, oh, that's cool, I'll add that, and then you're like in the candy shop, just
exactly.
picking everything.
Yeah. I'm one of those people that, like, again, I usually read the release notes, or whatever, but not always. And hacks was when they made that change from 1.0 or whatever to 2.0. I didn't really read it, and I was just like, yeah, upgrade, whatever. And then I clicked like I think it was in beta at the time, and that's when I first moved to my Home Assistant Yellow, which I use now. And yeah, I went on it, and I was like, what is going on here? I was like, 'cause I was so used to the 1.0 interface, right? And it's definitely very different, but I thought that was
Yeah, there's icons and you can search, and it's like
I know it's wild.
yeah,
That's funny. So
yeah.
going back to a little bit about your smart home, what kind of stuff do you do? I know, I watch you on YouTube and whatnot. So, but from a regular usage basis, how does your home automation usage look? Like, what types of stuff do you use? How do you drive a lot of that, whether through tablets or voice or what have you?
Yeah,
Um,
so so I have again like all of the things, but I don't know, I guess I'd say it's a bit boring really. Like I have a lot of the basics, your lights and your blinds and stuff like that. So those kinds of things are just your background automations, they just run every day unless they don't, and then somebody notices. So, there's like at set times the blinds
yeah,
open and close. The blinds have things like every single window door has a contact sensor on. So if the window is open, then those blinds don't go down, and then that's like a like manual input then, because you obviously need the window shut, otherwise they'll be left open all night or whatever. So yeah, blinds, curtains, lights, and then everything is controllable through voice assistants. So you can always ask that Amazon lady to do the things. I got a few like VPs kicking about.
You got a couple, do you? Because I know, like, as creators, we would have got one from Nabucasa as to test them out before they release publicly. Um, I've only got the one. Where have you got yours, like, situated?
I've got one that's just kind of on my desk, just unplugged, chilling at the moment.
Yep.
yeah,
But that's because I needed to use the USB-C cable to to power another product that might be in a future video.
Nice.
But yeah, so I've got one here. I've got one outside in the workshop, and then one upstairs. So yeah, they're really nice for little notifications and stuff.
Yeah, they're
yeah.
absolutely brilliant for that.
Yeah. Yeah, then there's like Amazon Echoes like everywhere.
Random question for your Amazon Echo. Do you have her set to the UK accent, or have you changed her accent?
Yeah, I think it's the UK accent.
Yeah, I know. Like when she launched in Australia, she's obviously got an Australian accent, and it's so jarring to hear like the very put on Australian accent. So I had to change it back to American. I was wondering, I'd be interested to know if that was
Really?
same for you. Like if you just hear the British Amazon Echo lady going, "Oh no, that doesn't sound right."
On topic of voice assistants, I used Siri because I use that a lot, like in the car with CarPlay and stuff. And before they made the change to like the more natural sounding voices and stuff, mine was set as like Australian because
Oh
it
yeah,
just sounded like she just sounded cooler being Australian.
That's funny. Well, mine was set to British for that same reason, right? That's funny.
what would be your favorite automation that you've set up in the home?
I have a lot that are like based around the kids. There's like lots of kid type automations. Like we've got like that one where it will like, if like the child gets out of bed and like it turns on some like lights on the landing, but it also like
Yes, yeah.
pause TV.
Yeah, I had the same thing. How are you doing that? Like motion sensors, like under the bed or something, like to know.
Yeah, so no, it's just purely like the door is opened,
Okay, yep.
like
Okay.
after they're in bed. So there's like, if it's between a set time period. But yeah, it makes an announcement on the speakers. You get like a little notification on your phone, and yeah, like it was TV. Because when we were watching like The Walking Dead and things like that, it was
Yeah, you don't want a child walking in from nowhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've got one that I really like, which is kind of, it's not clunky, but it's not the best automation, but it's funny that it kind of doesn't work sometimes. So basically, the school send out an email to say what's for school dinners and that kind of thing. But here in Wales, when you get your email, it'll be like bilingual, so you'll have bits of like Welsh and English. So if you imagine kind of like there's a calendar with like the days of the week. So then all the days of the week will be in like both languages, and then the what's for dinner is also in both languages. So I get that as an email, and then I forward it to another mailbox that I have that like some of my software projects can interact with, and it basically just takes that out, passes it into Olama to do like a bit of processing, and then it can like make an announcement. Then it just stores it as like a notification, because every single day the kids will be having breakfast and they'll say like, what's for like lunch at school.
Nice.
um, but
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, but like to actually get into the email, like it's actually, you have to like do like a bunch of stuff. It's not just like you can just open it on your phone kind of thing.
Right.
So it was always a pain. But yeah, they'd always ask what's for dinner, because if they don't like what's for dinner, like, oh, it's whatever, like it's spaghetti. Oh, we don't like spaghetti. So then they want sandwiches making. So then you take a packed lunch in.
Mm.
So yeah, in the morning they could ask the Echo like, what's for lunch, and then it will like, yeah, it's already got the information, so it tells them, and it does like the whole like nice like AI, oh, so this morning you're gonna have this, and then for snack it's this. But yeah, the reason it doesn't work is because when it's out of school time, or if there's something missing off of the calendar, it will just say like there's nothing to eat. And on one of the days it didn't work, they were sat there eating breakfast and they're like, what's for lunch? And like it replied, there's no food today, you're not getting any food. And they were like, what?
Oh
Like,
no.
but
That's
it
so
was
Was that
so
the
funny.
it was
AI
so
that had
funny.
put that in?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
so cool.
That's hilarious.
yeah. Yeah, or it couldn't understand the Welsh, so it makes up something. Yeah,
Oh,
it's really good.
right.
Yeah.
That's funny. So are you doing a lot of other things with Olama and like notifications or anything
I
on that
mean,
front?
that's the only thing that I'm using that for currently, is just for
That's funny.
processing that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, like I have the OpenAI, which I
Yeah.
added, and I even like do the whole pay for thing, which feels like a bit like you're beta testing it for everybody. But
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I got that specifically just to do some cool things for the VPE and
because I think there's two like I've just started paying for OpenAI, but I noticed it was two models. There's $30 a month, or at least in Australian dollar dues, $30 a month, and that's like a Chat GPT Plus or whatever. But then you can just put some dollars behind the API and use API credits. Are you using just the API credits hooked into Home Assistant?
Yeah, so I have the plus one for just doing like random other
Yeah.
stuff, and then the other one is the credit based one. So like I just set it to, I think I set it to like block off at like £25. I've never
Right.
hit it yet, like that limit, but equally I've also been really careful to, if ever I do anything with that, like don't ever do it if the kids are around, because
Yeah, that's
they would
fair.
just rinse it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, like I think I'm only using it like in a very controlled thing, and I put like $5 in a month ago, and I think I've only used like 4 cents or something because I'm just
yeah,
conscious like these things can
Yeah.
take money, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. If again, to your point, Mark, if kids get a hold of it, especially, it's like, hey, how about this? What's this? Let's do this. And it's just like, oh, there's $300 all of a sudden. That's
yeah,
just gone down the drain. Not that it's that expensive, but it's funny. I almost feel like we're getting to this point where there's so many like good models for a lot of different things, or good services almost, right? ChatGPT, Claude, so on and so forth. But where it's almost getting to that problem where it's like with TV shows and movies and things like that. There's like Netflix, there's Disney Plus, there's blah blah blah, and people are like, it's funny. It's a meme on whatever social media where it's like, okay, great, we've got all these services that are like $25 a month, $30 a month, $50 a month. It's like I'm just going to go back to pirating, right? And it's like
Yeah,
I feel like obviously there's no like pirated version of ChatGPT or anything like that, at least at this point. But I feel like that's almost what's happening, right? Where people are using Claude, people are using ChatGPT. I have friends that pay for, I think, 2 to 3 services at least, right? And it's wild. And then and Olama and stuff like that on top of that. Do you find that Olama is like the model? I'm not sure what model you're using, but do you find that it works well with um, what you're doing? Like I guess it's mostly just OCR and then dumping out an output. But
yeah. I mean, I think my particular use case is quite like a basic one, isn't it? So I'm just giving it text, then I'm basically saying like, make this like sound fun, and here's like a little structure template for roughly what I want you to say, but just give it that like magic thing and make it a bit more interesting. Um, and because obviously every time it processes that, it's like going to be slightly different to when it last did it. So it never repeats it like exactly how it did, which is more interesting if the kids constantly ask it
sounds more natural,
5 times.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you should have it progressively getting more like annoyed,
Yeah.
like
I've
within
told you.
within like a yeah within like a 30-minute period, being like, we just talked about this.
Yeah, because it has to translate between like the two languages. It
Yeah,
might like say the kind of Welsh part, like the first time you ask it, and then the second time it'll say English. But like it works, like it does what it needs to do. And if ever it like gets it wrong, like if ever it's not sure where, like, because there's so much text, it's not sure like, is that part of the lunch or is that part of the snack? If it says it like wrong or mixes it up, like I've heard it before say like it's milkshake for the lunch or whatever, they just think it's hilarious. Like obviously they can figure out that that's not like, but they'll
yeah.
they'll just love it, like, haha, we've got milkshake for lunch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've never bothered trying to fix it or whatever, just because they enjoy it
They
and they
enjoy
get
it.
the gist of it. Yeah.
Do you host, like, are you self-hosting Olama on your own infrastructure at home?
Yeah, just self-hosted. I think mine's actually just running on my like Home Assistant. It's just the add-on.
Really
So yeah, because it doesn't need any like crazy power or anything for. So yeah.
interesting. I would have like. And are you running like a good, like, an expensive rig, or like I've always
So yeah,
assumed that it would be like you'd need this huge, powerful GPU and stuff to get anything good out of it.
Yeah. So again, like the particular use case I have a, how am I doing it? I think I've got like a little C# application that I've written that just goes off and goes and grabs the email, does all that stuff, and then it just passes that into Home Assistant, just stores that text then, and then at like 6 a.m. then Olama like does its thing, and then it'll so and then the way that it's actually played as well is in the kitchen. I've got like a Sonos and the Echo, so they ask the Echo, and then it like takes a second or so, and then it'll answer on the Sonos.
Interesting. So in that case, does the Amazon Echo then wait for a response, like, or is it like have you set up the Amazon Echo to fire that like script? Is you got like an action or something that's set up?
Yeah, like it's been a while because it's just been there. Like it feels like forever now.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's doing. I think like there's I think there's probably like a helper or something, like a you know
Yeah.
home assistant helper, and then if you turn that helper on, that then triggers it to say whatever the thing is. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, I think it's like an action in the Amazon Echo, and then you can then have that trigger something in Home Assistant,
Yeah,
and I assume, and then if the Amazon Echo's action doesn't have any like wait for response or anything, it'll just kill it. Just say
yeah. I
yes, it's
mean,
worked.
yeah, it's just so using the Amazon routines. I think I just tell it that if somebody says what's for lunch or whatever,
Right.
it would
Yep.
just
Kick
trigger
off
that.
this.
And there's no feedback issues with like having this answer on a Sonos speaker. Like I'm guessing it's not getting picked up as still talking.
Because their voice request is made to the Echo.
Yep.
They literally just say that command, like it's not waiting for them to say anything else.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
they say the thing, and then it just plays media basically. So yeah, there's no like waiting around or anything. They're basically just triggering something with their voice. So
How do you go about handling like the different like I know I maybe it's a personal thing, but I find it jarring to have like different voices. Like I love my Jarvis British male voice that the voice PE provides, but now it's different to the Amazon Echo lady's voice. Um, have you tried to match voices a little bit so there's not so there's similar voices, going from the Echo to your cursor?
yeah, I mean, because like the voices for like the VP and like what's played on the Sonos are the same. Like I don't get it as much. But yeah, I do know what you mean. Like having all these like different people that you speak to. Because when I speak to like Siri in the car, again like that's
Yeah.
another different one.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I don't notice it. Like we're all friends. Like it's
We've all got our
That's
assistants because
funny.
yeah,
yeah,
I
until like the AI overlords overtake us.
uh-huh, absolutely. I always find it like, how many do I talk to the Amazon Echo lady for this? Do I talk to, the voice PE for that? Like, who am I talking to, right? Um, and that's me. I don't want to have that burden for the rest of the people in the house.
Yeah. I have the Meta glasses. I'm not wearing them now, but I have those too. So that's like
Yeah,
another different voice as well. So I remember
yeah,
they
'cause that's
brought
got
voices
Facebook's
out.
AI in it, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So they brought out like a load of celebrity voices, and I was like, wicked. Like let's. And I
Nice.
had John Cena for like maybe like a day. But
That's
it's
amazing.
yeah, it does get really annoying. Like
Yeah,
so yeah.
and they don't integrate with Home Assistant, do they? Like, there's
No, no. I saw somebody had wrote something where it would pass stuff through like WhatsApp and stuff like that, but it's all a bit like just too clunky. Like you could get it to work, like you could tell Meta to turn on your lights or whatever, and then it would behind the scenes it would send a message and then it would go and do this, but you'd be waiting. So
yeah, it's not ideal when you could just walk up and hit the light switch.
exactly, yeah,
But isn't that most of our home automation stuff anyway? Yes.
That's right.
exactly what it is.
That's it. Well, if you're looking to upgrade your smart home, you can't go past Zeus. Add Z-Wave long range to your home assistant setup with the Zeus ZST39 USB radio. Their advanced technology operates in dual network mode, combining a reliable mesh system with ultra-fast direct device-to-hub connectivity. And with Z-Wave long range support, you can get coverage up to 1,300 feet or 400 meters both indoors and outdoors. Oh, and it's extremely secure with unique DSK QR code scanning, which you can now do directly in Home Assistant. The Z-Wave JS integration in Home Assistant enables seamless compatibility with a wide range of brands, all working together through the secure, private, and standardized off-cloud protocol. But that's just the start. Zeus offer a range of affordable and innovative devices, including water leak sensors, water valve controllers, smart plugs, scene controllers, and even color paddles. The color paddles for their scene controllers, dimmers, and switches allow the smart devices to blend seamlessly into your home. For the best prices and a full range of all Zeus products, check out thesmartesthouse.com. That's thesmartesthouse.com.
All right, perfect. So, Mark, I mean, you on your YouTube channel, you do a lot of tinkering and a lot of that kind of stuff. I know you recently ran a couple of challenges, right? You ran a challenge around building a personal device kind of thing, give you some data out of there. One, how did that go? Two, do you use that yourself? Do you?
Was
There
that
isn't.
the desk controller thing?
Yes.
What are you thinking? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like I have it kind of, not that you can see, but out of
Plugged
camera.
in.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a really nice one because it's like it's just powered by the same desk controller, so it's just one cable plugged straight in. But yeah, that's a really nice one. And I I primarily wanted that just because I used the Stream Deck a lot to control all my lights and stuff. But if your computer's off, I might be sat at my desk. Maybe yeah, you can't use it. So yeah, it basically was to kind of fulfill that, and then just I was like, what other cool functionality
So
can I
that's
add
not
to
using
it?
the Stream Deck, is it? This is something completely different you've made.
Yeah, so it's basically like a little touch screen and an ESP, and plugs in, so I can make the desk go up and down, and I can get like little notifications on it. Or
I really liked it, right? And you had information coming up on there too, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
you could pretty much just do whatever like you wanted. I just went with a really basic
Yeah.
here's some kind of squares, but yeah, I tried to just do it like in a way that's like people could, that was like a starting point, and then if you wanted to, you could take it and go further.
We'll leave links to that
That's
video
cool.
on homeassistant.fm because, yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've expanded upon that a little bit because I've got, like, you asked about like how do I interact with my smart home. I've got a couple of wall panels, but I'm just using the Fire tablets. So I have some of those, and I was like, oh, one of them doesn't really ever get used anymore because it's, I think, maybe wall tablets. I don't know about you guys if you use them, but I think it starts off as they're really cool and you use them a lot, and then they become just
Yeah.
something you might look at for
Yes. Yep.
a bit of information.
I have a brand new Fire tablet in its packaging still with, grand ambitions that would go in a bedroom or something. But yeah, like I've got one set up out of three. One is on a wall, and it's basically a button to close my garage door when I come in from the garage. And everything else, like the other one's being sequestered by my son to as his in-car entertainment unit, and the other one is still in its packet. So I totally understand.
Yeah, so I basically, from my desk idea, I started like a wall panel, but like just like a bigger ESP touchscreen. So I started doing that, and I started making a video for that. And as I was going through it, I was like, wow, there's quite a lot of steps here, and it's quite complicated. So I was like, oh, what if like I just wrote a tool that lets you build your own like UI and customize and do that stuff. So I started writing some software to actually design and build like only kind of simplistic, like like I create a few different templates which are like your layouts, and then you can
Sure.
populate those with your Home Assistant things. So I started that, and yeah, I mean it's still kind of paused. I got so far with it, and then I just posted a picture of it, and I was like, hey, would anybody be like interested in this? because sometimes that's quite nice to do as well, because if people are interested, then
It's motivation, right? It's
yeah.
otherwise you're like, you do all this stuff and literally nobody cares, and you're just like, okay, cool, thanks. That I spent months.
Yeah, it makes it a worthwhile kind of thing that other people are interested and would want to use it, or it would even want to help contribute and develop it. So that was that's quite a good one. But also, it's one of those things where like you do something and then you've got those people that like will just email you or message you. Like I get that a lot now. Like, where is this thing? Like,
You said you would do this.
yeah.
And how dare you have a life and a career outside of just making me YouTube videos, all right? If someone was starting out with Home Assistant today or home automation today, what would be your go-to advice? Like, don't do this, don't make this mistake. What would be your advice to someone?
I would probably say try and just stick with local devices as you start, because I think just based on experience and just from talking to people who have it new, if people don't always understand like the whole local versus cloud thing, so they might then like I did, like I said earlier, where I was like, oh man, it sucks, like from that perspective, because they, you think it's the software as opposed to it's the devices you're using. So yeah, I mean, again, as we move forward and hopefully we start seeing more of these devices like have that Home Assistant logo on, that's going to make things a lot easier. Even Matter, like as and when that like gets better, that's going to help people like with buy-in stuff and knowing what to use. But yeah, I think my advice would be maybe just try and keep things local. It's, I guess, easier said than done, maybe.
It is, yeah.
'Cause
As soon as you start adding AI or voice assistants, like you're basically in the cloud, right?
yeah, but I think even just like from a buyer perspective, like here, if you go to say like, like Tesco's or something, and you've got like the electronics section, like, I think like 9 out of 10 of those devices are all just going to be cloud devices. And then the ones that aren't, they probably require some kind of cloud thing, but because they're like Zigbee enabled or whatever, obviously you can do that
Yeah,
stuff.
get around it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. So with some of the, like, again, some of these devices that you build and stuff like that, what are some of your favorite like hacky ways of doing things, or just even from scratch? Like, again, we talked about the dust controller, but I think one of the first videos that I saw of yours that I was like, oh my god, I want to try this, is when you took apart I think it was a door sensor, and you attached some force sensitive resistors to it, or
Yeah. Yeah, that was ages ago.
that was a long time ago. So
Yeah.
so like, what are some of those things that you're just like, man, this actually was not necessarily like so cool, like a shiny thing kind of coolness, but like a, hey, I use this daily and it's just the best, right? Like, and it's like enriched your life, or maybe there isn't one that it's like, oh my god, this is so good, right? And maybe it's like, oh yeah, it's okay, cool.
So like what's like a hacky thing that I've done that's is that what you
Well,
mean?
like yeah, well, a hacky thing, or just from scratch, either or.
I like it's always obviously, the first go to is like what has somebody else done so I don't have to kind of do it, or like what's something maybe you can, rather than start from scratch, maybe there's something that somebody started and you can either help improve or you can like modify or use. But yeah, if there's nothing like that, I do often like just write in my own like tool or service or whatever to like interact with stuff. But I would just call them like the janky
Janky.
automations. And
Yeah,
I actually have so many of them that I've actually like considered like doing a video like based on like fixing the janky things. And I'd go through and I'd be like, okay, this is like a janky automation, so I'll show you what it does. And it's one of those ones where I would have like just chuck something together and then I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, okay, wicked, it works. In the future I'll come back to this and do it like properly, like make it like,
and you never have. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just stayed like that. So yeah, so I've always planned on being like, yeah, I'll make a video, because then it's content then, and I'm improving something, and it might be useful to somebody to, because they might be like, oh,
Yeah.
the way that you're doing that is actually how I do it, and that's not the proper way of doing it. So yeah,
Yeah. You've just highlighted how wrong I'm doing something when I thought it was great.
yeah, it's like a two birds one stone kind of thing.
That's right.
But it's never happened.
And if someone wanted to start out with YouTube today, how do you think? Like, do you think there's still a lot of room in YouTube? Do you think it's, how have you found the process? Any tips you would give someone starting out today?
Yeah, so if you're like planning on doing it, like just do it. Like I would just say just go for it, because it would be one of those things where you're like, oh, I'm going to start this, or like, oh, I'm thinking of doing this, and then you just put it off. But especially with something like Home Assistant, if you're doing, content around that, then, there's it's a community, isn't it? So it's obviously you're going to get like your people that hate it or whatever, but you'll also get people that enjoy it, like-minded people, or people that ask you questions, people that you can help. So I would say just do it if you're thinking of doing it. Like it's the internet's a pretty big place. Like there's space for everybody to do whatever you want. So if you want to make videos and make content, then just do it.
Yeah, I don't think you need like the all the fancy stuff, right? Like just start out small, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't need all of the fancy things, all the
No.
nice toys. Like, if it's an interest to you, then the same with your smart homes, you'll
Yeah.
you'll acquire those things over time and gain it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just do it. Do what you enjoy.
And it's an even more expensive hobby than than home
Oh yeah,
automation somehow.
yeah, for
Be
sure.
warned.
Yeah.
What is something that you would like to see in Home Assistant? Like, is there a killer feature that you're just waiting for, or something that you wish Home Assistant could change, and that you would like to put out on a podcast as opposed to just talking to Paulus every month that we usually get to do on the creators calls?
Paulus will usually like ask this question like
Yeah.
at the end of the year, like in the creator calls. I mean, there's a lot of really cool like music assistant stuff happening at the minute. So if I could add something, it would be probably just enhancing that really. Like everything that they're doing with the VPE. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
and there's some other cool products like on the way from Home Assistant. So we're going to see some cool things.
Yeah, Music Assistant is like, it's, I don't know, for me, I've found, I don't know if it's just my hardware or whatever, but I've just found like I would start streaming something and I'll pause on the Sonos and then Music Assistant won't remember where I've resumed from, or it just a bit slower to stream it from Music Assistant. So Music Assistant is something I want to succeed, but I just, yeah, for me, I don't think it's there yet.
It's getting there. Like there's a lot of I've been using it a lot recently for just exposing some folders where I actually have media rather than streaming it and doing that kind of stuff. It's been just really good. Just like I want to play this track or whatever on this speaker, and it just does it. Like so, yeah.
Yeah. Do you typically interact with Music Assistant from the speaker itself? Like, so for the voice PE, you say like, "Hey, play this thing by this person from Spotify," or whatever that looks like.
Yeah, no, I mean for me with Music Assistant, I pretty much only ever interact with it like from the browser really. Click this and do that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
I've not
cool.
really used it with voice. I don't know, like I don't know if it's any better now than when when they first added that kind of stuff. But it was never there like just yet. So it currently doesn't replace, the simplicity of asking your Echo to do
Yeah.
whatever.
Mhm.
Like you might get it to play something, and then if you're using OpenAI or whatever, you'll get like something totally different, which I know that can happen with your Amazon Echo or whatever, but like
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's the Echo currently just has that the reliability. But with like using your VP or whatever, currently it's just not there yet. Like it's going to get there, like no doubt about it. But yeah, as of right now, you couldn't just switch to using that.
Yeah, there's still, I mean, it's getting a lot of love, but it's still, to your point, there's still work being done, right? So
Yeah.
Thoughts on the Amazon Echo Plus subscription? Something you would be interested in or not necessary?
I mean, it's yeah. I don't even know if it's in the UK yet. Like, is it, or is it even out yet?
I
It's not
don't
even
think
out
it's
in the
US.
US.
Yeah. No, so I don't know. I feel like it's going to be another one of those things where like the US guys get like all of the cool stuff. I remember like way back when I started my home automation stuff and used the Echo for everything. I remember the US had all the like cool features
Yeah,
there,
the
like
guard feature, everything. That's
yeah,
why it's still set to the US region, because like there's so much more you can do in the US than, well, maybe not today, but
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
like I remember it always used to be like that. So I imagine like the voice plus stuff is going to kind of follow suit with that. So the UK one would be a bit more limited, but I guess you'll get some of the nicer things of like the like continued conversation and the nicer, more natural sounding voices and stuff like that. Which also might also be a little bit creepy. I don't know.
yeah. I just checked out the OpenAI, the ChatGPT memory of me, right? And it's scary. Like, oh, you know that about me? I guess you would. Like, I've asked you those questions, but yeah.
And that's just one thing where you've asked questions. Like it's not something that's just on live all the time. So harvesting your data.
Yeah. Remembering your data, that's the scarier part. So what's next with Mark Watt Tech on YouTube, and uh like what kind of, where are you hoping to, what are your long-term kind of aspirations with the channel? And just, keep it going, like keep doing your thing, or is there like, man, I really want to do this type of video, or I really want to do like, obviously there's a lot of stuff you're working on that you don't want to necessarily talk about just yet, but kind of high level, even if that's
Yeah. So I
thing.
think for me as like a content kind of creator, one thing like I guess it kind of comes back to Phil's question on like advice for people for YouTube. For me, like I would say it's
Yeah.
like the quote like until done, tell none. I think that's something that I really need to like because when I start working on things and I get really excited about it, or I'm like, oh, I want to like share and show that, like
Little
I'm
tease
like,
here and
Yeah.
there.
yeah, like I don't mean for it to be like a tease or whatever. I'm just it's that I'm that like excited about it. I'm like I
Yeah.
want to talk about it. And then yeah, I might make that announcement, but then yeah, like life happens, and then you've got those people. So I'll tell you a really good example of this is so I took like a kind of break, like we talked about earlier, from YouTube for a while. Like while my sister was living here after my brother passed away. Um, and then I built an outside studio which was going to be like for YouTube. So this now is my inside office of the house. So I built like an outside studio that was going to be my little YouTube space for doing filming and
I remember this. I was so jealous of you. Like, oh, that's so cool.
I
yes.
know.
And
I
it was,
know.
it was like built from like scratch, so I could decide where things were going to go. I could decide what smart tech I wanted in there, and it was
Yeah.
like, it's also like a mini smart home. So if I wanted to take the light switches off, I'd like put doorbells on it and cameras without like my wife getting mad about things being chopped and changed in the
Yeah.
house. It's really good as well for like testing purposes for YouTube. And I was like, wicked. So then then I took like the break from YouTube, and in that time I started doing like a lot of 3D printing and things like that. And then like the 3D printer started breeding, and we started buying like a load of them and started like a little small business just selling 3D prints. And my wife's actually now took that business over and she's doing that. So I
Very
actually
cool.
moved from that studio back into here. So that's a workshop now just
Yeah.
for doing all that kind of stuff. So I've lost that space and I'm back.
So much effort, so much promise, and then
Yeah.
it's
So like coming full circle back to my point with like until done till none, I was like, hey, I'm gonna start like this channel like about like the workshop, about like printing and doing like more of that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, like would anyone be interested like in that? And so I made the YouTube channel, and it's still just empty, and it's still just a plan. And then I was like, right, I'm going to wait for Bamboo Lab to release the new printer, and then I'll start with content on that. So, but ultimately, I'm just finding time to do it. And I also want it to be different from the normal stuff that I do. So it's, I don't want to be having to do like a load of research and stuff like that. I just want it to be very natural. So
Hey, here's this cool thing that I did, and I want to share it with
yeah,
the
or
world.
literally just, even if it's just like me, like on the phone, just like
a
so.
vlog style sort of.
Yeah, just really natural.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to spend loads of time editing it and doing all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's still planned. But
That's cool. But I mean, even with like little editing or whatever, it's still like it's still effort. It's still a lot of work, right?
yeah,
And it's again, even
yeah,
setting up the camera, setting up right angles, setting up all that stuff, and
Mm.
it's just
but
it's stuff, right? It's
yeah,
to do that you have to do. But
yeah, it'll come. Just yeah. So that's one thing that I've done is just just not make those
yeah,
announcements until it's ready. So
yeah, I totally feel that. It's
I just have to contain my excitement.
I've learned not to tell Phil about my projects because otherwise I'm like, oh, I
I will
want to do
hound you
this
for
thing.
a year about
Yeah,
when your
I
delivery
just
man
yeah. I was
would
gonna say
notice.
it's the delivery man one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 exactly. Exactly. That's that one's done. That one's sealed and shut. That's not happening.
It's
yeah.
not happening. It's so easy
It's
now. Like when you started that, you didn't
I know.
have
Yeah,
OpenAI. Like now you could just plug it into OpenAI and be done with it.
So you know what it was, and I may have talked about this in the podcast before, but what it was is, um, so I work just again through work. Again, we deal with security. Some of the stuff I would look at as security cameras and those kind of things. And we have an ecosystem partner, and one of the things that they build is a lot of smarts around taking video feeds and again running it through machine learning, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the default examples they had on there was, "Hey, look, this is a UPS truck. Hey, look, this is a FedEx truck." And I was like, "All right, I'm done." And it was like, and it's like, again, the difference is they have like a team of people that build this application. It works amazing. It works really well. But it's like, okay, there's a lot of fidelity behind this. They have a ton of like training data that they've provided and all of that stuff. And I'm just like, okay, I don't care anymore. I, who knows? Now I may take that and just say, hey, go, AI, whatever it is, whichever whatever flavor, go process this image. What do you see? And or do you recognize this as a package delivery person, right?
yeah. I remember like because that became quite a big thing, isn't it? Like you'll see it on like Reddit and the Home Assistant Facebook with just people always sharing like the snaps of the camera feed, and then they've got like the AI. But I remember when I first saw that, and I remember thinking like, oh, I should message this to Rowan to say like, look how easy it is now.
I know, right? You should
Yeah,
definitely do it now. Out of spite, I'm not going to do it, right? It's
yeah. For the longest time, that was like you're running like Phil's jab for you.
Yeah.
that's right.
Maybe when's this episode? Like, let's look at the August release. So the next month's release, I will have some YAML at least with my OpenAI integration to detect and I'll put it into practice and I'll see how accurate I can get. I can't see delivery drivers, but I can at least. Well, so I can't see delivery trucks, but I can see people walking up in high vis carrying a box. Let me see. Maybe I'll provide you the YAML, Rohan, and share it with everyone.
There you go. Perfect. Done.
Yeah, and I can stop
It's
hounding you for
No
it.
excuses.
Yeah.
that's right. And I still won't do it. No kidding.
No, you better do it. You better do it. Mark, thank you so much for staying up so late for us. And yeah, as I said, it's a long time coming. So yeah, I'm glad we got to do this. We
Pleasure.
will leave links to your channels channel in the show notes on homebusiness.fm. Yeah, thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
I'll see you in the creator calls.
You sure will.
That's it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.